So that is on powder production and characterization for additive manufacturing by Dr. Manjaya. So about Dr. Manjaya, so he joined recently in the mechanical department of NIT Warangal as assistant professor. He did his PhD from NIT K Surathkal in 2015 and postdoc from University of Johannesburg, South Africa and École Centrale de Naste, France. He has been working in additive manufacturing for 5 years. He has published more than 35 research papers in international journals and conferences, 4 book chapters. In his credit, his research interests includes additive manufacturing, surface engineering, statistical optimization, and advanced manufacturing process. Now, Dr. Manjaya is with us now, so to deliver a talk on this powder production and characterization for additive manufacturing. Thank you, Manjaya. Over to you.
Thank you for the nice introduction. Good morning to one and all. Today we are going to additive manufacturing. Okay. Before going to start this, why we need to have this powder quality and what is the importance of this powder for additive manufacturing process? Means the quality of the powder is directly related to the production techniques. Whatever the production of this process are there for the powder manufacturing is directly related to the quality of these powder materials, and that quality of the powder which is very much essential for the using in the additive manufacturing process. Means whatever the component we are going to fabricate either in the SLM process or in DD process, any of the process. For example, if you take the powder bed process, means it consists of the many thousands of fine the powder particles spread over the powder the bed. Means the uniformity of these layers can be affected by the properties of the powder and the final component. Means whatever the powder properties are directly it is going to affect the quality of the part which you are going to fabricate by the DED process or the powder bed process. Means the how the powder is interacting with the laser beam or the electron beam is very much important. Means sometimes the powder is going to be spatter ejection or the electrostatic repulsion of the powder particles or the kinetic recoil of the powder in the DED process or enhanced convection of the powder in the gas stream when we are flowing in the DED process. Means how this powder interaction with the process, the DED process or the SLM process is very much important. Means that's why we need to have a very good quality of the powder is required for the utilization in the additive manufacturing process. Means the powder behavior and the spread deposition is in very much influenced by the manufacturing process of the powder. Means for example, it is very much influenced by the quality and as well as the size distribution of the powder. Most of the many common methods for manufacturing of a highly quality powders which is suitable for the additive manufacturing process are the gas deposition, that is the gas atomization process, or the plasma atomization, and as well as plasma rotating electrode process. These are all the very 3 common processes which we are using for the powder production which is suitable for the additive manufacturing process. And there are another methods. There are so many methods which are available to manufacture the powders. Means directly from the metal. There are many methods. Means which you can directly for example, if you are using for the powder metallurgy constants or any other thing
Sir, there is no voice.
Hello, hello.
So voice is coming. Just check it.
It's fine. Is it everything fine? Okay. There are any methods also, electrodeposition and as well as automation of the molten metals and the powder production methods, which are mechanical methods, physical methods, and as well as chemical methods. Means the mechanical methods are the very cheapest for the powder production methods. Means these methods involving the mechanical forces such as the compressive forces or the shear or the impact of the facility of the particles to reduction into a bulk materials. For example, the milling process we are using for the ball milling or this type of milling process for the powder production by the raw materials, that is the mechanical methods. Coming to there are different processes. I am telling you, there are many methods of powder production techniques. The automation is generally viewed as the best way due to the geometrical properties of the powder particles that can be achieved by the manufacturing of the powders. That is the automation process. In the automation process, for example, the powder is going to be discretized into a very small particles. Means the automation is like the process of molten metal breaking into a small droplets and rapidly frozen before going to drops come into and contact with each other with a solid surfaces. Means that is called the automation process. Means for example, gas automation or water automation or the direct reduction are appropriate gases we are using for the production of these powder particles. For example, in the gas automation process, we are using a argon and as well as nitrogen gas for the production of the powder particles. And also there is a water automation process which will be followed by the oxide reduction and under the hydrogen atmospheres. Means the metal powder used in additive manufacturing is currently experiencing an exponential growth, with which there is a growth coming to a new powder suppliers. Means there are very new suppliers are there in the powder manufacturing methods, and there is an increase in the competition for the powder manufacturers, because there are, since from 20 years we are using this powder materials for the additive manufacturing process. The way in which the powder is spread during the additive manufacturing is depends on the properties of the powder which we are using for the manufacturing process. That is, the property of the metal powder vary widely depending on the automation methods and the manufacturing process conditions. Means how we are going to manufacture or the automation method which will directly affect the powder properties. Right? You can see the graphs. There are overall the market has been exponentially growing since from the last 5 years during this time to time sale of the powder and as well as additive manufacturing equipments. Means the rapid growth in the powder requirement for the manufacturing for this, especially for the additive manufacturing process. And also you can see this right hand graph, the value of this powder with respect to the, since from 2009 the powder requirement for this additive manufacturing is growing very rapidly. Means there are some researchers have shown that the metal powder cost will be the highest continuous expense through the life of this additive manufacturing machines, and the quality of the consistency of additive manufacturing components depends in the part and as well as the characteristics starting of the powder feedstock, how the powder is feeding into the deposition or the melting of the materials. Means hence controlling and understanding of the quality of the powder as the supplied by the supplier or used condition, which is very much essential. Means how the powder is manufactured and how the supplier, whether they are reusing the powder particles, that is very much essential for the whatever we are the buyers for manufacturing of the powder for this additive manufacturing process. And this is presents very quite challenging to the beginners in the additive manufacturing technology when they are deciding the powder suppliers. Means for example, if you say, however, there are so many additive manufacturing equipment suppliers are there, for such as EOS, Praxair, Hoganas, are they are selling very validated powder part. That validated powder is the powder which is has been identified already suitable for the application of additive manufacturing process. Means the wish list of the validated powder can de-risk producing the powders for additive manufacturing. It does limits the users to a single source supplier and inhibits the development of in-house expertise. Based on the data from the 2013, there are 855 powder manufacturers worldwide in the available. Means 425 in the North America, 205 in the Europe, and 225 in the Asia Pacific region, that are capable to producing the powders, especially for the additive manufacturing process. Means there are 1.12 millions of tons of the powder particles which are available to manufacture, and that is valued for around US dollar 6.9 billion. Sorry. And before going to select the powder particles, which we must to know the importance of the powder and the route of powder production, and as well as the powder recycling. Means the importance of the powder production means the how the powder is fabricated, right? The powder raw materials or the feedstock of the materials critically influence the powder particles. Means how the powder is fabricated, that is very much important. Means during the building sequence of any additive manufacturing component, the raw material powder feedstock is stored in an hopper. The design of this hopper and the method by which the powder is introduced into the build chamber, that depends entirely on the equipment manufacturers, how this hopper has been manufactured by the DED process or the powder bed process. That is very much important. For example, a discrete amount of metal powder from the hopper is spread either by the rake or by the roller in the DE, for example, in the powder bed process, that is in the SLM process. That is, we are going to deposit the powder across the build chamber from very thin layer of materials. There is a no more one more of particles, two diameter of the particles. The continuous layer of the powder will be there, that is in the SLM process. After splitting, what is going to be happen? It is critical than that the layer is homogeneous over the entire surface area of the build chamber. Any degree of inhomogeneity may resulting into a porosity, or in the absence of the powder particles in that deposited layer, it is incompletely through the thickness of the melting. Means too much of powder pooled in the area also going to be having a incomplete through the thickness of the melting is going to be happening in the deposited material. Means the importance of the powder which must be known for us. And instead of the powder is selectively fused using either laser or an electron beam based on the inputs of the sliced 3D CAD models. The layer of spreading or upper dosing or the bulk packing performance of the additive manufacturing powder will depend entirely on the properties of the powder being which were used, and the actual component built volume is significantly less than the total volume of the powder which were spread into the powder bed. Means as consequence, there is a large amount of unused powder over the build chamber. Means there is so much of amount of loss of material, around 40 to 60% of loss of materials will be there, and giving a high cost of the metal powder, it is essential that the unused powder is effectively recovered and reused for the future build. Means which means to one has to identify the recovery and the reusing of that powder for the future building of the components. However, the effect of continued recycling unused powder on the actual powder properties and subsequent component properties has not been subjected to intensive scientific studies. And coming to the root of powder production, means how the powder has been produced. For example, from the ore we are going to extract by the hydrogenation and dehydrogenation, and we are forming some ingots like the billets or wires from the forming process. Then in the second stage, we are going to make that ingot which you are using for the gas automation or the centrifugal automation or water automation or the plasma rotating electrode automation process. Then after that we are producing the powder, then we are processing for the post processing of that powder particles. Then the further post processed powder particles is validated which is suitable for the additive manufacturing process or not. This is how the root of powder production process is going to be happen. And in the physical methods, any materials that can be melted and made into a very powder particles. The pure metals are and alloy of the powders can be made into an powder particles. The atomization means the breaking of a liquid metal into fine droplet that typically less than the 150 micron of the size of the powder particles. And the forcing of molten metal through a small orifice and breaking into a stream by the powerful jets of a compressed air or the gas or the water, that is called the atomization process. For example, you can see the types of atomization, that is based on the atomization media and based on the kinds of energy which we are using for this atomization process. That is the gas atomization, water atomization, and as well as centrifugal, vacuum, and plasma and ultrasonic atomization. These are all the different types of atomization processes are there. And coming to the mechanism of the atomization, how the atomization is going to taking place in the production of gas atomization or water atomization process means in these processes, for example, in the first it is going to be happening stage by stage. There are 4 stages are going to be happening. Means the impingement of a high velocity of jet of water or the gas are pressurized sinuously, which we are producing, forming a distributed in the liquid sheet. And then in the second stage, the wave fragments and the ligaments formation through the shearing forces is produced by the disturbance at the stage 1, right? And after that, in the third stage, breaking of the ligaments into a droplets and then primary atoms, and then this primary atomization is going to taking place at the third stage, and regular particle shape, high surface tension, and low cooling rate will be there, and there will be irregular particles, that is the low surface tension and having a high cooling rate. And in the fourth stage, further deformation and thinning of the droplets and wave fragmentation is going to be happening into a smaller particles, that is at the secondary atomization process. And this side reduction is very much limited by the melt velocity, temperature, and as well as the acceleration forces. You can see here the mechanism, the model of this disintegration of the liquid metal into a powder particles with the high velocity. That is in the stage 1, there is a growth of wave on the sheet, that is the liquid sheet, and then you are going to have a fragmentation of the formation of the ligaments, and then we are breaking into ligaments into droplets at the stage 3. This is how the mechanism of a powder particles are going to be happening in the atomization process, either in water atomization or either in gas atomization process. This is going to be happen during the production of the process. And coming to the water automation process, we are using a jet of water impinging onto a molten pool. Means all the automation process began with the melting of the feedstock of the alloy. The melting process has a number of variations, but generally when automation using water, the feedstock is first melted in a furnace before being transferred into a tub dish. Means whatever the melted particles are there, that is the raw material, that is the feedstock material, is first melted before it is transferring into the dish, that is which is going to be occur in the water automation process. And the liquid alloy is entered into automation chamber, and then here it is free fall to through the chamber. The water is jet symmetrically positioned around the stream of liquid, and the automation and solidification of the particles is going to taking place. In the gas automation, you can see in the figure, the instead of the water jet, we are using a gas jet source for the atomizing, means that is going to be solidification for the materials. Means that is mimic of the water automation process, with a differentiation of being used the gas instead of water during the process. And air can be used one of the atomizing media, but it's more likely that an inert gas, nitrogen or argon, will be used for reducing the risk of oxidation or contamination of a metal powder particles. When the gas expansion of the zone of this interaction between the melt pool and the melted particles, we are going to have a sheet, then ligaments and ellipsoid particles is going to come into an picture. Means this is how the gas automation process is going to be taking place in the materials. The powder produced for high-end applications such as aerospace, the need of control interstitial elements have led to increased use of a vacuum induction melting furnaces. Means before going to use, we are using this material is melting in the vacuum induction melting process. Means especially for the aerospace application, the powder which you are using, the stream of powder liquid is atomized and high pressure jets of a gas which you are using to make the powder particles. And due to lower heat capacity, the gas melts, the droplets have increased solidification time. Means compared to water atomization, in the gas atomization process, the increase of solidification time will be more, and which results into an comparatively more spherical powder than the water atomization process. And worldwide, we are using annually ton say of the gas automation powder, which is around 30 lakh of ton per year we are using for the gas automation process of the powder particles. Especially for the non-ferrous materials, we are using around 50,000 of tons for the year of the inert gas atomized non-ferrous materials. And the melt size and the melt feed rate is less than 120 kg per minute or lower than the water automation process which we are using for the gas automation process. And in this mechanism, how we are going to calculate the volume of the area, and you can see the diameter of the powder particle. Based on this, the equation, we can able to calculate the breakpoint of the ligaments, spherical droplets, based on the geometrical constant and as well as the acceleration gravity and as well as the injection pressure of the liquid or the automation gases and the density of the liquid metal. Based on this, which we are going to calculate for the powder mechanism that is going to be happening in the gas automation process. And after this production of this powder with the help of this gas automation or water automation, we need to evaluate the how the microstructure is going to be occurred in the fabricated or manufactured powder particles. That is, the minute nuclei or the seed of crystal are going to be formed at the first stage. During the cooling of this nuclei going to more rapidly along the certain crystallographic directions. That is going to form a branches like a structure that is called the dendrites are going to form in all the branches. Then even small amount of solute atoms in the melt, the either as an interstitial alloying element or an impurity are greatly affected by the solidification process. Means how the solidification is going to take place, that is greatly affected by the solidification process. And once the freezing is going to be happen, of the solute atoms tend to remain in the liquid and rather than the solidifying with the solvent atoms and are the crystal liquid interface of the materials. And the solute rejected by the crystal becomes the concentrated in the remaining liquid as a resulting into following which freezing of the point of the liquid is going to be decreases. Means there are some solute atoms which are rejected by the crystal, it is going to be happening the decreases of the freezing point of the liquid materials. And then the liquid is just ahead of freezing the solid liquid interface of the materials. That is the further away from the liquid interface, means the composition of the liquid is going to vary with the distance from the interfaces. And the degree of cooling rate which is helps in evaluating the relative efficiency of a different cooling techniques provided for the product production methods. And the magnitude of cooling rate and as well as its variation helps in interpreting the microstructure of the powder particles. For example, you can see the equation lambda is equal to kT to the power of n. That is directly which will helps us to calculate the cooling rate and as well as development of this dendritic arm spacing between the powder particles. Means based on this equation, we can able to directly calculate the how the dendritic arm spacing, how the grain structure is going to affected by the cooling rate of the solidification rate of the powder particles. For example, you can see there are different types of powder particles which were fabricated. That is the gas automation and as well as water automation. This is the morphology of the powder particles, and you can see the dendritic spacing, whatever the dendrites which are going to be occur the microstructure of the powder particles after the solidification of this gas automation process. Means the dendritic arm spacing is directly related to the solidification rates. Means, for example, if you are going for a non-ferrous materials, especially the solidification rate of these non-ferrous materials which will be very high. And coming to the plasma automation process, the plasma automation process is very much similar to a gas automation process, except the producing with a very high spherical particles can be able to produce with this plasma automation process. Instead of a the billets or the raw materials, here we are using a raw material as a wire feeding technology. Especially this plasma automation we are using for a titanium materials, and the materials which we are going to react highly. That is for that process we are using this plasma automation process. And in this plasma automation process, this pool of wire or the powder feedstock is fed into the chamber, automation chamber, and then which is where the simultaneous the melted automation and as well as the material is going to be melted and coaxially fed into the plasma torch and the gas jets. It is going to melt and it is going to form into spratlets. If the powder is provided along with the flight of the path, it is going to have a spherical spread powder particles is going to come into a picture in the plasma automation process. And there are other techniques like the dehydration process, that is the hydride dehydration process, that is the HDS process, and as well as the trio process. These two processes are very recent process which we are using for the production of powder for the, especially for the titanium powder particles. Means the hydride and dehydration methods of powder production differ from one automation process to another automation process that is described above due to the fact that it does not involve any melting of the metal feedstock in the materials. Means it involves crushing and milling and as well as screening into resize of the large lump of the powder particles into a finer powder particles. And this TIRO process is relatively new method for production of a powder particle, especially for the pure titanium powder particles materials that is developed by the CSIRO from the Australia. And this TIRO process is a two-stage continuous production method in which titanium tetrachloride is first thermally reduced into an magnesium chloride by the titanium composite under the presence of a magnesium in a influence fluidized by the bed reactor, and then the magnesium chloride by the titanium composite then separated by the vacuum distillation methods produced by the high purity of titanium powder. This, as the titanium process powder is unsuitable for additive manufacturing due to particle size range of 1000, that is 150 to 600 micron, and it is necessary that the powder is modified using a ICR milling process, and process is controlled by the environment to resize the powder to arrange a suitable for the additive manufacturing process. This is how we are using this TARO process for manufacturing of, especially for the titanium powder manufacturing. And the summary of this powder characteristics which is manufactured by the different processes. For example, if you are going to for the water automation process, the powder particle size is between 0 to 500 powder particle size which you are going to fabricated by this process. And as well as this advantages of this, the process is the high range of powder particle sizes only required for the feedstock in the ingot form. Means only in the, you can use in the feedstock form for the manufacturing of this gas automation process. And as well as for the post processing is required to remove some the oxidation effects, the water irregular particles or morphological satellites which are presenting in the surface of the powder particles. That is the major disadvantage of this water automation process. And this is a non-reactive process common users. And the gas automation process which we also we can able to produce 0 to 500 micron, and we can able to produce wide range of alloys which are suitable for the reactive alloys only requiring the feedstock in the ingot form. High throughout the range of particles which can able to fabricate the very processed spherical particles. The satellites are present as well as in the gas automation process, that is of the very low yield powder between 20 to 150 micron. In that cases only will be having a very small satellites going to form in the gas automation process. For example, the nickel, cobalt, ferrous, all these non-ferrous materials as well as ferrous materials can be able to fabricate with this gas automation process. And the plasma automation process which are very restricted for the 0 to 200 micron size, extremely spherical powder particles can be fabricated and requires a feedstock either in the wire form or in the form of a powder for the high cost. Means in this plasma automation compared to this water automation, gas automation, which is a very high cost of manufacturing process, and we are using the titanium 64 for the most common process for this manufacturing of titanium powder. And the plasma rotating electrode process which you can able to fabricate 0 to 100 micron of the powder particles, that is the high purity of powder particles which we require, especially very high spherical particles. In that cases we are going to use for this plasma rotating electrode process, and the productivity is very low and will be very high cost, and some titanium exotics we are using for common use. And the centrifugal automation which you can able to fabricate 0 to 600, and wide range of particle size can be very narrow for the particle size distributions. And the hydride and dehydration process are the very low cost option. In this we are going to have very irregular particles, especially for the titanium powder particles, and from a brittle from the dehydration, that is from the hydride and dehydrate which can able to fabricate, but the powder particle size distribution will be greater than 45 to 500 micron, and it is very irregular particles. For further post processing of this hydride and dehydrate process is required to make the very spherical particles. And the key variable process variables of this powder and as well as the techniques would be used for the production of and the measurement of these powder particles. How we are going to measure or characterize the powder particles means the characterization means the powder morphology, either the shape or the spherical particles or the particle size or the particle size distribution or particles consisting of any porosities means which we can able to directly evaluate means the analysis can be made by the either optical microscope or electronic microscope or any powder analysis by the choice of the particle size analysis, the TEM process. With the help of this particle size analyzer or the sieve analyzer, with the help of these things we can able to analyze the properties of the material, that is the bulk properties of the materials means. And from the particle morphology which will have a significant impact on the bulk packing and as well as the flow properties of the powder batch which we are going to produce. For example, spherical or irregular shaped powder particles are likely to be arranged efficiently which are regular particles means. For example, if you go for a spherical particles, those spherical particles are very much influencing the fabrication methods and as well as compared to the irregular powder particles methods. And the morphology can have significantly influences the powder bed packing density and consequently on the final component density of the powder particle. Means how the particles are morphology are significantly influencing the powder bed packing density, and it is consequently directly affecting the final component which you are fabricated by the SLM process, that is directly affected by the powder density of the particles. And if the particles are very irregular, morphologically irregular, then the whatever the component which you are produced, that will be having a lower final density of the component will be there. And as a consequence, very highly spherical particles tend to be here favored for the additive manufacturing process. This limits the use of the potentially cheaper powder production routes for such as water automation and HDH process, that is the hydration dehydration process. You can see there are some powder particles, the powder morphologies which were fabricated by these process, HDH process or the gas automation process or the plasma automation or the plasma rotating electrode process. Means especially for the titanium, we are using a different process to fabricate or manufacture the powder particles. You can see from the HDH process, the hydration dehydration process, the powder particles are very irregular in shape. And in the gas automation, there are spherical powder particles are there, but there is a satellites which are presenting on the surface of the powder particles. And in the plasma automation, there is a further improvement in the sphericity of the powder particles. And in the plasma rotating electrode process, very fine, very optimum distribution range of the powder particles and as very spherical powder particles which can be able to fabricated or can be able to produced by the plasma rotating electrode method. And how you are going to analyze the powder particles means which we are telling the optical microscope or electron microscope or chemical analysis by the SEM process, electron probe, X-ray microanalysis, or some of the surface analysis by the Auger electron spectroscopy or XPS, or bulk properties can be analyzed by the X-ray diffraction or fluorescence spectroscopy. With these are the atomic absorption spectroscopy. There are number of different analysis processes are there for analyzing the powder particles, either the geometry, sphericity, or the chemical properties of the powder particles. But the challenge is how to cross-section the powder particles for the optical microscope. Means cross-sectioning of an individual powder particles is very difficult, and for very simple process, what we can do, we can embed the powder particles in an epoxy, and then by cross-sectioning and then by the standard metallographic process, we can able to analyze whether the sphericity or it consists of any porosities inside the powder particles, that can be analyzed by this type of embedding the powder particles in the epoxy materials. That is the simple approach. For example, some powder particles we need to go for the analysis. So for example, tin, the powder particles. How we have to go for the SEM analysis means for that powder particles we are going to have for the electroplating of the nickel to make into an conductive. Then we are going for electroplating. Then we are using that electroplating plated the sample, the epoxy molded powder particle samples which are going for the electron microscope analysis. From this backscatter electron or the secondary electron which we can able to observe the grain structure of the powder particles after the electron microscope analysis. Means from the backscatter electron which you can clearly observe the microstructure of the powder particles. And how to improve the conductivity of these powder particles for individual powder particles analysis, means by the nickel electroplating which we can use as the smoother surface, and after as well as the mechanical polishing which we can clearly observe the surface properties as well as the cross section surface of the powder particles by the electroplating coating of the epoxy molded powder particles. That is we are showing for especially for the titanium materials. And you can see with the help of nickel electroplating, if there are any some porosities existing in the material also can be identified in the, and also the surface roughness of that powder particles can also be analyzed by the SEM process. This particle shape and as well as the shape factor are majorly influencing the process characteristics. For example, shape factor is also called the shape index of the powder particles, usually described by the aspect ratio of the powder particles. The shape factor and the size of the powder particles described by the aspect ratios, means is measured for the ratio of the surface area and its volume. The aspect ratio is the ratio of the large dimensions of the particle to the small dimensions of the particles, and the volume of a normalized particles, that is the normalized spherical particles, is equivalent to the volume of the powder particles, and the ratio of the range of the particles, the spherical to 10 flakes, for example 10 needle-like structures, that is the ratio of the powder particles from the 1 to the 10 flake-like needle-like structures, and the shape of the factors, the flake higher than its sphericity of the powder particle, that is the shape factor and as well as the particle shapes. The particle size distribution and other factors which are directly affecting the powder distribution and as well as which we are using for the additive manufacturing process. The particle size distribution means it is very much important because it affects the process characteristics of the powder, means the flow properties are the compressibility and the density of the powder particles, and that have been affected for the metal behavior, means whatever the metal powder, that behavior is directly affected by the size distribution and as well as the some of the other properties of the powders. That is the flowability, means when the metal powder is being filled into a dice, that is the flowability of the powder particles, and as well as the compressibility of the powder particles when the metal are being compressed, that is the gives us the compressibility property of the powder particles, and the density of the particles, that is the theoretical density or maybe the apparent density or the density when it is powder is shaken or tapped into the die cavity. That is going to give us the different properties, the other properties of the powder particles. Coming to the powder size distribution, from batch to batch it is going to be varies from lot to lot. The powder characteristics or the powder particle size distribution is going to be vary. In general, especially for the EBM process, we are using 45 to 106 micron for the EBM process, that is particle size distribution, and especially for the SLM process, that is the powder bed process, we are using 15 to 45 microns of the powder particle. And this particle size distribution will have an obvious impact on both the minimum layer of the thickness of the deposited layer and as well as the resolution of the finest detail in the component. It will goes to give us an finest detail in the component of the fabricated component. An inappropriate combination of this powder particle size distribution means, if for example there is a lot of deviations in the powder distribution, in that case what is going to be happen, a layer thickness can potentially lead to in situ segregation due to the mechanical recoater pushing the porous particle away from their bed. Means if the powder particle distribution are very large, then what is going to be happen, the very larger particles or the porous particles are go away from the bed because of the mechanical recoater pushing the powder particles. And the segregation in the case of very fine powder particles, means if there are very fine powder particles deviations are more, in that case what is going to be happen, the segregation in the sense of could lead to a variation in the build quality in the vertical direction. Means we need to have a very proper distribution of a powder particle size. It should not be in the downside of the fine particles, or it should not be having porous side of the powder particles. Means using these powders with a wide range of a powder particle size distribution and a high fine content produce the component with a high fractional densities. And The use of a fine powder particles, that is the material, increases the risk of health and safety issues. Means especially for very fine powder particles, if you use the healthy of the whatever the manufacturer, the operator of that machine, and the safety issue is going to be occurred in the when you are using for a very fine powder particles. And this is particularly true when processing reactive materials such as titanium, where the final particles are likely to be more flammable and as well as explosive particles. The particle size, the particle shape and distribution. Particle size or the shape is the usually described in terms of aspect ratios. The aspect ratio is the ratio of the largest dimension to the smallest dimension of the particles. The ratio ranges from unity of the particles to the 10 flakes-like structure of the electron particles. And the shape factor is the shape index. It is going to define the shape index of the poured particles. It is measured the ratio of the surface area of the particle to its volume. That is normalized by the reference of the spherical particles to the equivalent volume. Thus, the shape factor flakes is higher than the spherical particles. And the size distribution, it is very much important consideration for affecting the process characteristics of the powder. The distribution of powder particles gives terms of a frequency distribution plot. The maximum, it is called the mode size of the distributions. And you can see the distribution of the powder particle, that is the normal distribution. For example, the quantitative powder particles belong to specific size of the powder particles, can be described cumulatively or frequency distribution. With the help of this distribution, you can clearly tell the what size of powder particle distributions are there, and it is going to describe the cumulative and as well as the frequency distribution, and it will going to display the histogramical or continuous deviation from the cumulative. And for example, if the powder particles greater than the 50 micron, that is going to be called as a core size that can be sieved separately from the sieving analyzer. And the fine powder particles that can be observed by the microscopic sedimentation methods or air separation methods or laser particle analyzer, which we are using for the very fine powder particle, that is less than 50 micron, can be analyzed by these type of different particle size analyzing methods. You can see there are these powder analysis made by the optical microscopic analysis with the help of some analyzing softwares, the Empire or the image analysis softwares. You can see this with the help of this particle size distribution can be analyzed. Means the particles which are between the average particles, how many number of particles are there, and whether it is some satellites or particles existing in the powder particles, that can be analyzed with the help of this the image softwares and the optical microscope. And you can see the distribution of the powder particles normally distributed from 0 to 120 or 150 micron. That is based on the instrument which we can explore the analysis of the powder particles. And after analyzing the recycled powder, for example, there is a titanium powder which you are already used, and recycled powder is consisting of some oxide layer on the surface of the materials, which you can observe from the EDS analysis. You can see in the oxygen contents is very thin layer is going to be existing on the surface of the used powder. Means from the elemental mapping, you can able to analyze the reused powder, how much oxide layer is going to be existing after the using of the powder particles, once we are going for the using of the powder particles. If you are using the same recycled powder, how the microstructure you are going to get it, means which is going to get very similar to the whatever the fabrication of the powder particles. But in some cases, we are going to have this oxides are going to be occurring in the defects for the fabrication of this process. That is going to have some porosities or the dislocation, that is the flake like unmelted particles are going to be stayed into the materials. And this powder analysis going to be analyzed by the individual particle analysis or the powder size distribution analysis with the different methods. And the powder recycling can be analyzed by the EDS analysis, the elemental mapping, when the oxygen is diffused into the beta phase or not, that can be analyzed by the elemental mapping methods. And for example, if you are using the microstructural defect, for example, we have done some 17.4 pH steel, stainless steel materials with the help of the 3D systems. We are using a recycled powder, and we have used a different type of the etching patterns and fabricate this type of a component. And in that component, we have cross-section the fabricated component, which we can see that there are some the particles are fused together in the layer fusion. That is in the melt pool of this going to give us then cross section of the meltpool boundaries, where that there is a some unmelted powder particles are going to be stayed into the melt fusion direction. That is because of the powder particles are oxidized. That is the reused powder particles. Means these oxide inclusions present over when the beam direction which is directly related to the fusion layers. Means these oxide fusions are going to occur in the each successive fusion of the layers that can be observed with the help of this SEM and the TA microscopic pictures. And you can see that whatever the elemental mapping also gives us the how the oxides are present in the fabricated components. Whatever this black patch, the dark black patches, that is the oxide inclusions are present in the fabricated component when we are going to use for the reused or the recycled powder particles. And also you can see these large inclusions are going to be occur in the fabricated component. Means this microstructure gives us the presence of the inclusions or the oxide which is going to be present in the reused powder particles. And also you can see some inclusions are the unmelted particles or the porosities are going to be occur in the fabricated components when we are going to use for the recycled powder particles. This is how the defects are going to be occur and the microstructure is going to be happening in these type of powder particles when you are using. And in these powder particles there are some other properties are there also important. What is the cohesive strength of the powder particles? Means for example, cohesive strength means there are many metal powders flow like a liquids. Means flowability means the flowability is very good, means the metal powder particles are flowing very smoothly. Means without any restrictions or no cohesive strength will be there. Means the flowability is very flow, means there will be a no cohesive strength will be there. However, when you take that powder particle and squeeze it in a palm, then once in a hand, if you remove that hand, many grain, the whatever the particles are there, gains the enough strength to retain the whatever the shape you are squeezed into in the palm. Right? It is going to retain its shape. That is the cohesive strength of the powder particles. Once you open the hand also, that is the cohesive strength of the powder particles. If powder particle grains are under cohesive strength because of the pressure, it is applied to an arc or the rat hole can form in the powder flowability of the materials. The rat hole is a stable pipe or a vertical cavity that impedes the out of an outlet of the materials. The material is left to stand in a stagnant zone and as usually remains in the place until the external force is applied to dislodge them. Means you can see this figure. There is a, for example, of a rat hole formation and as well as arc at the outlet of the bin is going to form. Means when there is a cohesive strength in the powder particle material, this type of powder flowability is going to occur in the outlet of arc of the bin and as well as the rat hole formation is going to occur. For example, if you see this video of the powder flowability in this thing, for example, if I run this video, you can see here the powder is flowing continuously. Means the flowability is very good, but either it is going to form an arc-like structure. Means when there is a cohesive strength, it is going to form this type of structures, and also that is the arc-like stable structure is going to form in the powder particles when it is flowing. And also you can see in this powder, if the powder is consisting of a rat hole structure, the cohesive strength is very high. In that case, it is going to have this type of rat. Powder is not flowing, we are going to tap twice, then the powder is going to flow like improper and it's going to form this type of rat hole structure in the powder flowability. That is going to have the difference in the cohesive strength of the powder particles. Means if the cohesive strength is very much high, this is going to be happen in the case of the rat hole structure. And what are the factors which are affecting the apparent density of the powder particles? The apparent density of the powder particles is depends on the density of the solid materials and the particle size distribution and as well as the shape and surface area and roughness of each individual powder particles. Means the apparent density is directly influenced by the shape and particle size distribution and as well as the surface roughness of the powder particles. It is the bulk density of the powder particles and it provides a mass per unit volume of the loose powder particles. Means it is the mass per unit volume of a loose powder particles which are packed. That is called the apparent density of the powder particles. This apparent density of the powder particles This is the low cost evaluation method for the powder characterization, determine the from lot to lot different fabrication or different manufacturing lot. It is very easy to determine the apparent density of the powder particles. And this apparent density is decreases from the when the particle size is higher. The particle it is decreases with the decreasing the particle size, and decreases the particle shape from less particle size or more irregular particles, and it is decreases with increasing the surface roughness. When the surface roughness is, the apparent density will be very low, and also it is frequently controlled by the mixing of various sizes of the powder particles. For example, a low apparent density indication means very fine particles are there, and if the apparent density is very high, it is going to indicate us it consisting of a large pore particles in the materials. A small change in the apparent density can also indicate the change in its surface roughness of the pore particles. Means there is a variation in the apparent density of the particle, it is going to affect the surface roughness of the pore particles. Means the atomization going to give us some satellites. In, for example, in gas atomization or in the water atomization, we are going to have a satellites in the pore particles. That is going to give us the apparent density. Means if consisting of some satellites in the powder particle, that is going to reduce the apparent density of the powder particle. In some cases, there are some heavily agglomerated powder particles are there. That powder particles gives us an increase in the apparent density of the materials. Right, and as the apparent density of the metal powder is strongly influenced by the particle size. For example, irregular or small size particles, definitely there will be a apparent density will be low, and in case of a wide particle range distribution, the particle range distribution is very wide. In that case also apparent density will be very high, because of the shape between the coarse particles is filled with a small particle. Because of that, it is going to have a higher apparent density in the powder particles. And you can see this table, the different process of the powder particles and this average particle size, and also as well as the apparent density of the particles. Means with the help of this different atomization process or the hydration process or the electrolysis process, this is how the particle size distribution will be there. The particle size average diameter, that is 5.8, will be having a, the apparent density will be 0.62. When the particle size is going high, the apparent density is also higher. Means depends on the particle size, will be having a different in the apparent density of the powder particles. That is measured by the based on the ASTM B212 standards, this apparent density of the powder particles. And the true density of the powder particle, the true density or the original density of the powder particles based on the Archimedes principle, with the help of this PV is equal to nRT, we are determining the true density of the powder particle displacement. And how we are going to measure the flowability property of the powder particles. The flowability of the powder particles, which are measured by the alflowmeter or by the Kearney flowmeter, which is based on the ASTM B417 and as well as ASTM B213 standards. Means based on these standards, we are measured with the help of this the flowability property of the material. That is going to give us the apparent density of the powder and the how much time it is taking to flow the 50 gram of the powder flowability. Based on these standard methods, we are going to have the flowability properties and as well as apparent density of the powder particles. The another instrument that is frequently used for determining the apparent density of the powder particles, that is the Scott voltammeter, going to give the powder flowability and apparent density of the powder particles based on the ASTM B329 standards for the dry pigment paints, which we are using for these type of standards. And the tap density is the volume of powder particles tapped for vibrated under a specific condition. I have shown the one video in that. That is the tap density. Means once we are going to tap the powder particle which are not flowing properly, means the powder particles are not flowable, means we have to tap at some point of time, then it is going to be flow properly. Means always these tapped powder particles having a higher density than the apparent density of the powder particle materials. Means it is going to have a lower friction of the powder particles. Means the friction between the movement of the particles lowers when you are tapping. That is going to induce us the more compactness. Because of that, it will be having a higher density compared to the apparent density of the particles. You can see in this table also this effect of the particle shape and as well as the powder particles apparent density and the tap density. Means always this tap density is very higher than the apparent density because of the compaction and the low friction between the pore particle materials. And there is a bulk packing material, that is the bulk packing factor, and as well as the flow properties. The powder flowability is one of the most important technological requirement for the powders which we are using for the ready manufacturing process. Means the density and homogeneity of the final part is depends layer by the layer of the melting process that is performed by the thin or uniform layers that are accurately depend upon the feeding device, how we are feeding into the material, that is the hopper, and how the feeding is going to take place in the powder bed process or in the DED process. That depends on the density and homogeneity of the powder particles and the cohesive strength of the powder particles, and exhibits a poor flowability are likely to more problematic for in terms of obtaining a homogeneous density in the layers. Means if the cohesive strength is more, it is not going to have a flowability. That flowability property will be very poor. In that cases, we are not going to have homogeneous density in the layers which we are fabricated or in the component, build component, throughout the component, which we are compared with the free flowing. If the cohesive strength is very low, then we will be having a free flow, then it will be having a good density, homogeneous density can be occurred in the fabricated component. The powder flow is very difficult to relate any one of the given parameters for the powder, but there are some general rules to follow for the applying of the powder flowability properties. That general rules are spherical particles are generally more free flowing than the non-spherical or the irregular angular particles. And then particle size has a significant influence on the flow, as well as large particles are generally more free flowing than the smaller particles. Means generally the larger particles are free flowing than the smaller particles, and the moisture content in the powder particles can reduce the flowability due to a capillary forces which are acting on the powder particles. And the flow properties often show a dependency on the packing factor and the packing density and the time for the measurements of the powder particle. That is, the higher packing density means you will be having a less flowability. Means the packing density is low, means then you will be having a higher flowability of the powder particles. That is one of the factors. And the short range of attractive forces such as the van der Waals forces and the electrostatic forces can adversely affect the powder flowability and may cause a particle agglomeration in the powder particles. That is, the a short range of forces have a big impact on the fine particles. Means if the particles are very fine, there is a short range of van der Waals forces is going to occur on the powder particles. And there are other chemical composition of the methods that can be analyzed by the laser sintering behavior of the metal powder, which is not commonly dependent on the physical properties. It is also depends on the chemical property of the powder particles, and it will of course gives us a chemical property of the component which we are fabricated. That is going to give us the idea of these powder particles and how to select a proper powder particles on the fabrication for the additive manufacturing process. And this is going to give as an overview of how we have to choose the powder and whether it is recycled powder and which process are suitable, how we have to analyze the powder particles, whether the geometry, size distribution, flowability properties. This is all gives us about the powder properties. Another 10 to 15 minutes I will take to like another process, that is the lamp process, which we are using for the additive manufacturing process. If you have any queries, you can ask after this 10-15 minutes of presentation.
Hello, sir.
Yeah.
Hello, sir. This is Dr. Prabhakar. Sir, it's a nice presentation, sir. I had one doubt about during sintering, the spherical powders, especially there is chance of pouring round. At that time, there may be shrink. Then how we can compensate that shrink? And most of the cases you are saying that you are using atomized powder particle for generally powder manufacturers. Now, if it is atomized,
Yes,
generally it is spherical and it's in the fine size particles. During you will have a good flowability, you will aspect, and as well as you have also mentioned that the apparent density is decreasing. For the finer the powder particle, it's a small lesser will be the apparent density. Then obviously once is apparent density, the strength may get degraded, isn't it not?
yeah, it will be degraded. But for that cases, we need to have a large size of powder particle distribution, sir. For example, if you are using for powder particles of 15 micron to 45 micron, then you will be having a higher in the upright density of the powder particles. In that case.
Okay.
Prabhakar sir.
Sir.
No, actually, he's having part of the presentation. Let him complete and then you can ask the questions.
Okay, sir. Question hour and start ayindani adigan nenu. Okay,
No. Actually,
okay.
yeah. Let him finish. You can interact with him. Yes.
Okay, sir. Okay, thank you.
Manjay sir, go ahead, please.
There is another small presentation which we are going to discuss about the wire arc additive manufacturing process. Means especially wire arc means we are instead of a powder particles we are using a wire for the feeding materials. This is based on the TIG process or the MIG process, which we are using an electric arc for the fabrication process. You can see this. It is very similar to welding process. We are using a feeding as a wire feeder materials to fabricate or to components of a very highly different type of component process. Introduction to this wire arc additive manufacturing, we are using a heat source, the electrical heat source, and especially for this wire arc additive manufacturing used other than the powder technology. When the parts are very big, structural components are there. You cannot use for the powder DED process for the fabrication of a very structural component. That DED process, especially SLM process or DED process, is very suitable for very fine components. If the very fine and small component, if the components are very big, in that cases we can go for this structural component. In that cases we can go for this WAM process. The one of the major benefit of this additive manufacturing process of WAM process is instead of simply assembling the many number of parts, we can reduce by this type of WAM process. Means for the structural applications or when it is a very big time component will be there. In that cases, it will reduce the number of components assemblies. Means it will give us a more freedom to design whatever the component structures are there, and it will also reduce the number of components in the materials. And in this WAM process, a standard additive manufacturing process consisting of a combination of three blocks. One is the major motion system and as well as heat source, and there will be a feedstock material. For example, if you take a picture, this is a WAM additive manufactured component. This structure is going to fabricate by the additive manufacturing conventional DFD process or any other conventional manufacturing process. It will take a lot of time. But with the help of this process, we can directly fabricate very quickly with 1 hour by fabrication of this type of component. Then you can go for the post processing machining process, which is going to have this type of. This is for some die application which we have fabricated this type of components. And these are all the examples for fabricated with the WAM process. There are different complex properties and complex surfaces with the help of titanium or some steel materials or carbon materials. We can fabricate this type of different complex fabrications. Once the fabrication is over, you can go for the machining of these, the post processing of the fabricated materials. You can see the capability of this WAM process, how we can able to fabricate very thin wall as well as different complex structures, and it is the weight efficient structure with a mixed materials of a functional graded structure materials can also be fabricated, and angular in vertical in horizontal direction in all the direction very complex structures can also be fabricated with this type of means with this process we have tried around different type of materials, either titanium, stainless steel, aluminum, refractory, and as well as bronze and inconel materials, means which are capable for fabrication of all these type of materials in the WAM process. You can see this WAM process, we are just fabricate small a complex structure. This is how the process is going to be happening, means with the help of a motion system, that is with the robot and with the electric hard source, and as well as a feedstock of the aluminum or any type of wire material, that is the feedstock material. This is how the process is going to be happening in the wire arc additive manufacturing process. You can see with the help of this process we have fabricated, these are the different complex parts which are fabricated, and one of the major example here I am showing for the ship propeller. This ship propeller is fabricated by the martensitic stainless steel, and which were implemented in the Naval Research Group in the France. This you can see this is the examples of complex structures, how we can able to fabricate it with the WAM process. Even with the 10 feet of structures, we can able to fabricate it with this WAM process. You can see one of the aerospace application of a structural part. In the body or in the door, we are using some so many number of assembly of components. To reduce the number of assembly of components, this is one of the wide application for the structural component fabrication for the aerospace application. This is for the aluminum material which are fabricated for the aerospace applications. And also this is the impeller which we are fabricated for the some turbine applications. This is which we are fabricated in the ECN non in the naval application. And how we are going to have the deposition strategy is going to affect the properties of the materials. Means, for example, if you are going for a single pass or multi pass or oscillatory pass, each is going to give a different properties of the materials. Means different microstructure is going to get, because of the cooling rate or solidification it will be very different. Because of that, the strategies are very much important in the VAM process. You can see, for example, just I will give you a very small idea of how this process parameter is going to affect, and also the whether we are using 5-axis the motion system or we are using a 3-axis motion system. Means in this process, the deposition rate as well as the heat source and the path process parameter, it is all directly interrelated with the additive manufacturing process parameter. For example, if you want to fabricate a very cone-like structure, that is going to define by the CAD model. Then we are slicing and then we are interpreting into the machine tool, that is the motion system. Then we are going to fabricate this type of the cone-like structures. Means, for example, to manufacture this type of component with conventional manufacturing, we need to have a 240 kg of materials, and after that it is going to have a 20 kg of material. Means there is a 91% of waste of materials will be there. Means when you go for this additive manufacturing process, it will be very less losses of materials will be there. Means we are using very 24 kg and there is a loss of material is only the 13% of wastage of materials will be there. And in this process, there are different type of CMT technologies we are using for in the VAM process. Means whether it is advanced mode or CMT means the cold metal transfer, whether it is an advanced mode or in a pulsed mode or in the first layer of sweeping mode. Means we have done so many trials how the traction forces is going to be occur between the substrate material and the fabricated components. Means the traction, that is the ultimate tensile strength of the materials. Means when we are using for a advanced mode, will be having a very traction strength will be very less, that is the ultimate tensile strength will be 40 megapascal. If you are using a pulsed mode, will be having a higher tensile strength, that is the traction strength, because of the heat source is going to melt more amount of material and dispersion of the heat energy into the material. And in the case of sweeping also will be having the more number of layers is going to melt in the initial cases. In that case we will be having the pulsed mode, that is the plasma arc is going to melt and going to have this type of the bond the traction strength will be further increased by the 130 megapascals. Means, and there are different complex structures also fabricated with a different the inclination angles. And especially for this cone structure, I am going to give the how the axis, whether the motion system we are using 3-axis or 5-axis, which is the suitable one for fabricating these type of structures. Means, for example, if you see, for example, cone angle is around 30 to 35 degree. In that case, if you are going for a single axis, that is the 3-axis machine, the axis of a vertical, the wire feeding system will be constant. Only we are rotating the x and y z direction. But in the case of 5-axis, all the axes are going to be vary. In that case, we are going to have a minimal defects. Means how much amount of defects we are going to occurring in different axis, whether it is 3-axis or 5-axis system. Means in this, if you see the graph, will be having a very number of minimal effect we are going to have, that is the 0.% of the 5% defect we are going to have it in the 5-axis compared with the. Means if you keep on increasing the inclination angle, definitely the defect is going to occur more in the case of the 3-axis machine. Up to 20 degree of inclination, 20 to 25 degree, 21 degree, there is going to get a very good defect, that is the minimal defect we are going to have it in a 3-axis machine. More than that 20 degree, we need to go for a 5-axis type of the motion system. And when you are fabricating this aluminum materials, there are so many number of defects or so many number of the cracking or the problems you are going to get it in a fabrication of this aluminum materials. That is the porosity or cracking are major defects in the aluminum fabrication. This is one of the example which you are fabricated in horizontally in both the direction of aluminum material. In this, how to control the porosity in a VAM process. Means porosity elimination is very difficult in VAM process. Means we need to use a very high quality gases, that is the argon gas, the purged gas, and the shielding gas which we are using, and the gas tightly sealed with a non-organic piping, and short pipe should be used for this type of reduction process. And use of arc MIG process, controlling of thermal profile to obtain a very refined equiaxed microstructure, and optimize the shape of the weld bead, means how the shape of the weld bead will be there, that is we have to optimize. And the cleaning of wire as well as for the surface, means if wire consisting of some oxides or some other materials, definitely there will be a defects or porosity in the material, means. And this controlling will reduce the formation of porosities in the material. You can see in the as deposited materials will be having so many number of defects in the aluminum materials. From starting first layer to the till end, will be having so many number of porosities will be there. Means after post processing further heat treatment will be having reduction of porosity, means the porosity sizes will be reduced. Further, if you rolled for each layer of the fabricated material, that will further reduces the porosity in the defects in the fabricated component. Means there are different type of methods also there, tandem wire methods used for fabrication and avoiding this type of cracking, and efficient utilization of the wire materials with the addition of some of the alloying elements like 6% copper or some other magnesium wires. Means alloying materials, when you are using, we need to avoid the cracking of the materials and some of the defects in the material with the help of this tandem wire technology. This tandem wire technology we are using continuously 2 wires feeding into the same arc source. With that, we can able to fabricate efficiently the efficient microstructure of the photoparticles and efficient mechanical property of the materials. You can see that with the help of tandem, we can have this type of microstructure, very fine microstructure, and less defects compared with the single wire of the materials. At the very high speed rate also we can able to fabricate the material. Compared with the mechanical properties, the mechanical properties are almost increasing compared with the single wire, and also having the elongation property will be more when we are comparing with the single wire materials. These are all the fabricated microstructure of the walls of aluminum materials, and also some of the cracking after heat treatment or after sudden quenching of the materials, we are going to have these type of the defects in the fabricated aluminum materials. And there are so many challenges: high melting point, high energy density, and also ductile to brittle temperature transition from the room temperature, and high susceptibility to oxidation of these aluminum materials, and a complete inert gas is required for during the deposition of the process. Also lots of required of heat sources and the feedstock of the materials in the substrate materials. A lot of thermal stresses applied onto the deposition of the materials, and there is a easy of cracking in this, especially for the aluminum materials. And the rolling process after each, this is along with our Cranfield University and the Eco Central North, we have developed this process. This is very useful for very simple type of structures. Once deposition, and the next process is going to have a rolling. This is rolling applied going to gives us a more fine microstructure for the fabrication of efficiently mechanical properties of the component. If the structure is very simple, then we can able to use for this type of development for the high pressure rolling after the fabrication of the components. You can see the rolled component microstructure and as fabricated component microstructure. Means after rolling of 50 kilonewton or 75 kilonewton, we will be having a very fine grain microstructure. We are going to get it in the component. Means it will automatically influence us the mechanical property. It will definitely higher the mechanical property in the case of the fabricated component and rolled component. And also we can able to fabricate the functional grade materials of a molybdenum to tungsten materials and the tantalum materials also. Means there are different type of materials can be fabricated with this type of VAM process. You can see these are all the microstructure we are going to get this type of in the functional grade materials. And this is the functional grade materials of steel and bronze material which are analyzed and fabricated with the help of this VAM process. We're going to have an ultimate tensile strength of 300 megapascal and 140 of the yield strength, and we will be having a highest elongation properties of 12% in the case. And what are the benefits and limitations which we going for the VAM process compared to DED or compared to the powder bed technology? In this VAM process is very much applicable for the mechanical properties and the material utilization, how much material it is utilizing, and the cost saving methods. When you compare with the DED process or the powder bed process, means mechanical properties is also good, material utilization also good, and it will be having also a cost saving method. And if the part size is very big and the part complexity is also highly complex, flexibility can be manufactured with the help of this type of process. And if the process is different, like powder bed process, we have building rate is very fast and the complexity is more, means then we have to go for the type of a powder bed process. And accuracy of the component will be very good in powder bed process when you compare with the VAM process. Only when we are going for a structural component, high mechanical properties, efficient utilization of the materials and cost saving can be used for this type of, and the part size is also very big, then going for the VAM process is the best option. And these are some conclusion with our based on our work. That is the VAM process is able to manufacture solid large scale structures in a refractory metals by the fusion, and with the help of a creating functional grade metals is easily possible, and controlling and evolution of microstructure bonded by the thermal recycling and during the process. And VAM is able to improve manipulate mechanical properties by using a in situ as well as cold work process. VAM is able to potentially massive cost saving method for the compared to the DVD and the powder bed process. Very high strength materials can be fabricated by the mixing of wire and as well as optimized composition. We can also increase the mechanical properties of aluminum by the based on the optimizing the process parameter on the arc generation method. This is the small introduction I had given for the VAM process. And thank you very much. This is where I have done some simulation how we are to hold the material during the VAM process. If you are holding at very one side, what is going to happen? The deformation will be very more in the case of the holding surface. Another side, the deformation will be very more. You can see we are holding with very one side, but the another side the deformation will be more. Means it's consisting of so many residual stresses or the cracks or some deformation defects is going to occur in the material. Means the substrate material and where we have to clamp or where we have to hold, that is very much important in the case of VAM process. Thank you very much for giving me time to present this both the presentations powder and as well as DED and as well as VAM process. If you have any queries, please ask me. I'm ready to answer further.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Manjaya.
Thank you, sir.
Hello, thank you,
If there are any,
thank you, Dr. Manjaya. Yeah. So
yeah, thank you.
yeah, Prabhakar Rao, we'll wait for some time. Let me summarize and you can ask the question.
Okay.
So excellent presentation by Manjaya. So let me summarize what he has done. So he has started with the powder preparation methods and how it is important in compare with the conventional powder preparation, and in particular about additive manufacturing. And he has talked about powder characteristics like size, shape, flowability, density, apparent density, cohesive strength. And he has talked about the virgin powders versus the reused powders. And then he has given some experimental samples on UAS machine and some SEM diagrams. And finally, he has presented the VAM process, and then then VAM, how the parts will be consolidated through VAM process. And then he has talked about the post-processing techniques and FGMs, and finally he has concluded with the SLM versus DED versus YRAM process. So now the floor is open for the questions. So then, yeah, you can start answering questions to the Dr. Manjaya. Yes, you can ask the questions to Dr. Manjaya.
You can also post questions in the chat box.
Dr.
Hello, sir.
Venkatramana from MGA. Am I audible?
Yeah, audible.
Yes, you go ahead.
Yeah, generally the problem, this question is related to VAM process. When we, each welding process is related with lot of distortion. So when we construct in walls using VAM, how is this distortion control?
If you want to control the distortion, we have to clamp at a proper locations, and also the substrate thickness should be very high. Means
No,
when
in
the
the
heat
vertical
accumulation,
direction, when you are building the component in the vertical direction.
Yeah.
So then in the vertical, if you are constructing a thin wall, layer by layer.
Yeah.
So in when we go for single bead or two bead, only lot of distortion will be there. When we are going for number of layers, how this distortion is controlled along the wall thickness?
we have to use some proper strategy of deposition. Either we are going to use for a zigzag strategy or one-way strategy. that is based on the solidification rate of the material. We have to choose a proper deposition strategy and as well as the substrate thickness of the material. In some cases, many people are used cooling from the outside. They are
Okay.
purging the cooled air in the external directions. If the material solidification rate is very quicker, in that cases we have no need of any cooling system. If the solidification rate is very slow, in that case we have to provide some cooling system for the fabrication of these type of things. And also the strategy is very much important, sir, in the fabrication of the. If it is a very single thin wall, you can go for the zigzag strategy.
Okay. So, but the building time will increase, no?
Yeah, definitely the production time, the building time will increase, sir.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, Manjay sir. It's very good presentation indeed, actually. And actually, I have one doubt about yesterday. Also, I asked about why Ravi Kumar sir. In VAM process, after getting this VAM process, the crystal structure will be same with the same material we are using. Like suppose if aluminum you want to do some additive manufacturing, okay, structure may be some FCC. Is this the same crystal structure will show after this manufacturing?
Sir, we have tried to develop the whatever. For example, we are using aluminum wire.
Okay.
And we have studied the chemical properties of aluminum wire and as well as the microstructure of aluminum wire. And after the deposition also we have tried to check the properties. But properties are much near and the microstructure is similar, very much similar to the wire material. The only thing is the grain size is different, sir. Whatever the FCC or BCC civil microstructure you are going to get it, the grain sizes are totally different.
Okay, grain size may be changed.
This is for a rolling process and extrusion process. There the microstructure of the grains will be very smaller, but in this case, will be having a very bigger size of the grains will be there in the case of VAM process.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Manjay sir. Sir, one more question here. Mahendran from Chatbox, actually. Is it possible to blend a metal powder with a polymer powder for printing parts using SLS or SLM?
No, sir, it is not possible. If you are build this polymer powder, what will happen? Definitely, you will going to have a defect in the fabricate component. We cannot able to mix this polymer powder with the SLM processor.
Yes, sir. Thank you. So, any more questions from the participants?
In fabricate metal matrix components are some like ceramic powder particles or some other powder particles with this along with your powder. You can do that process. Metal matrix that we can do it.
Sir, this is Dr. Samir, sir. Sir, can we in situ add the nanoparticles in the VAM process, sir, while we are constructing the layers?
Yeah, we can add it, sir. Means we have to do some arrangement for adding the nano powder particles or micro powder particles along the melt pool.
Along when the melt pool
is gone, yeah, we have to add some nanoparticles, sir.
So you are using roller, no, sir? When we add in situ and press with the roller, then again deposit, then can we do that layer by layer, sir?
We need to have an arrangement for a incorporation of this nanoparticle into the melt pool, sir.
Okay, thank you, sir.